everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. Well, it looks like Marvel is pushing forward full steam ahead with their feminine agenda with She-Hulk, a show where I would be the target demographic, but I'm seriously not looking forward to this show at all. Especially considering what the She-Hulk director said they'll be focusing on, which would be inclusivity and making sure that the story was told through the female lens. She provided this insight into the series' focus during a recent interview given to Entertainment Weekly in promotion of She-Hulk's rapidly approaching premiere. When asked by a staff writer how having a team of all women behind the camera influenced the series' production, the director asserted, "I will be so excited on the day when that's not a big deal. Let's focus on inclusivity and exclude all the men. That's what we're going for here. That's inclusivity," according to this director. We're not there yet, but I hope that the show is a part of that movement where it's just accepted that some shows are predominantly led by women because that's how life is. It's definitely something we talked about inclusivity and making sure that the story is told through the female lens. Nobody cares about that. What is your show about? That's what I care about. If your primary focus is to have an all-female crew, an all-female staff, an all-female writing team, then you're not putting your focus on the thing that matters, the thing that will drive someone to see your show. Especially men, considering what you say in this next sentence. Comic books have traditionally, in the art, been through the male gaze. And so there was a lot of talk about what is the female gaze and how do we create this from our point of view? Who cares? Who seriously cares about what the male gaze or the female gaze is? Comic books have been traditionally story-driven, character-driven, plot-driven. That's traditional comic books. What we're receiving now is not that. Your race, your gender, and your sexuality. Nowadays, that is all that matters. The stories don't matter. The characters don't matter. The plot doesn't matter. What matters is the story that you want to tell. The agenda that you want to push. That's what matters nowadays. When you talk about inclusivity and then exclude a whole group of people, it shows me that you're not really all about inclusivity, are you? When you tell me that your number one focus on the show is not really to tell a good story, but to make sure that you're the first to have an all-female crew and how important that is for you. But let's move on. The director then revealed that with these goals in mind, one thing I always come back to was one of the wish fulfillment elements of getting to see her walking down a dark alley and someone gives her a hard time and she's able to kick their butts. So is this like a self-insert? It's just something that you've always wanted to do. So you're gonna make your character do that because she has powers. So you're just gonna plop her in a dark alley for no reason whatsoever, but just to have that scene for yourself. It was something that every single woman can relate to, any woman, any age. How exciting would it be to walk home in the dark and not worry? She-Hulk is able to walk home even while wearing headphones and not worry because she has the power to not feel vulnerable physically. And I think that's a pretty unique thing that only a group of women could have brought to this, among other much more nuanced things as well. So this is telling me that, like, in your eyes, women are kind of weak, huh? They can't protect themselves. Yeah, doesn't sound very good to me. Moving on. We talked a lot about women feeling the need to be polite. If some guy comes up to you in a bar, it's obvious what he wants, but you don't want to offend him because you're too afraid of being rude. Jennifer Walters has this new part of herself that doesn't have to temper that and doesn't have to put up with things that she doesn't want to put up with. Jennifer Walters doesn't have to put up with that crap. Honestly, if you're in a bar and you're not interested in a guy, you can tell him, "Thank you, I'm not interested, bye." You're never going to see that person again. Who cares if they think that you're rude? But I guess since that's something that you're not able to do, you want to put that on your character and put her in some situation as some sort of ego boost for you. This really isn't selling me on this show. Further, in response to inquiring as to how the series will tackle and evolve the concept of rage in the Hulk mythos, she said, "I think we can both agree that the female rage is much less accepted than male rage. The level of anger that is accepted by society is different between men and women. We have historically all of these comic book characters that get to rage at level 10. But how is She-Hulk perceived when she's at rage level 5? Is she perceived the same way the men are when they're at level 10? Stop comparing men and women. Just make a good show." She-Hulk is actually a really good comic book character, one of the good ones, and when you focus on just that character instead of focusing on men versus women, you might actually have a good show there all on its own. But no, you just want to focus on men versus women simply because there's a Hulk in the MCU already. You want to make your character better than the already established Bruce Banner's Hulk in the MCU. So let's move on. She also emphasized that the topic of gender would be explored through Jen's interactions with her Avenger cousin Bruce. Bruce and Jennifer's dynamic is honestly honestly one of my favorite parts of the series because he comes into it having gone through this very personal journey, and he has a predisposed idea that their experience is going to be exactly the same as his, and that he has a lot to teach her. And very quickly it becomes clear that her experience is going to be very different, both physically, literally, and mentally, because of how they have operated differently in the world as men and women. I love watching Bruce get completely thrown off his game of thinking that he's the teacher and realizing that very quickly she has things to teach him. Of course she does, right? Because they're going to build up her character by tearing down an already established MCU male character. And it's not just a male character. This is a character that took years and years and years of character growth that is going to be torn down in one season of She-Hulk. They're giving She-Hulk one season to be better than the Hulk. They're simply just going to make her amazing and better at everything. But that's just my opinion. I would love to know yours in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please come and say hi on Twitter and Instagram and all of my social medias. I also want to shout out my patrons, my Harlequins, Jokers, and my Dark Knights, as well as my Rogue Gallery channel members. I appreciate your patronage and your membership so much. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and let me know in those comments down below what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. Bye everyone.